Yo, what's up guys, my name is Severman and welcome back to another video on my channel. So in today's video I will show you how to mix and master an EDM song, and this was probably the most requested video on my channel for the past few months or something, I don't know. And I kept pushing this one back because I don't really know myself why. But yeah, I finally managed to sit down, record the video. So yeah, let's get straight into the video. So for this tutorial, I've bounced out some stems from my latest song called Worst Way. So what we're going to be doing is we'll take the stems and we'll be mixing and mastering these live in this video together. But first of all, let me show you how they sound right now, unmixed and unmastered, and then let me compare that version to the finished and mixed version. So let's go. And this is the mixed and mastered version. Alright, so before we do anything with those stems that I have in the project file, let's actually talk about reference songs first. So yeah, maybe you have recognized already, I have two reference songs down here. So this one is Go To War by Hardwell and Ciano, and then the other one is Alive by Rich Edwards and Kronos. These are two songs that I really like to use as a reference for my mixes, because I really like how these songs are mixed and mastered. And the reason why I want to start with reference songs and why I don't start directly with mixing the stems that we have is, well, if you don't know how other songs are mixed and mastered, it's hard to mix our own stems, obviously. So first of all, let's open up Span on the master. And just in case you don't know what Span is or does, it basically shows you the frequency spectrum of your song and also the stereo width, the correlation meter down here. And this really helps to also explain everything to you guys. And I also use this one to analyze other songs, obviously. And this can really give you an idea of how other songs are actually balanced, because you can see the frequencies, obviously. So this is what we're going to do now. So let me play the drops of these songs real quick, and then we're going to talk about the balancing and stuff. So this is the first drop. Then let's have a listen to the second one. You have kind of, the sub bass sitting between those two lines right here. So if you take a look at the meter here, it's the -30 mark at the -36 mark. This is where the sub area is, around 50 Hertz. And then if we go higher in the frequency spectrum, you can see that the frequencies are getting quieter. The reason for that is because this range, both the nice sub range, you can say from 100 to 200, even 300-400, doesn't sound that nice, because it's rather really high bass or very low mids, and these sort of tend to have woody character, or just a very high unpleasant bass character, which is really not that nice. It's also the other one again. As you can see here, around the 200-300 Hertz range is, whereas in the frequency spectrum there is least volume. Do you say that, least volume? I mean, you get the point probably. And then we're getting into our mid-range from you can say 400 Hertz and above, basically. Let's say 600-800 Hertz. And this is the most pronounced area probably in an EDM song, because this is where you have the leads. Let's check the other one again. Also here, the leads aren't going above, you can say -24, and aren't going below -30. And then the top range, if you look at the top range, let's say the range from 8K and above, you sort of have the frequencies, the high end, not going really above the -30 mark. And then you also notice this fall off. This is just due to the high cut in the song or the elements. So this is also what I do, is I high cut my stuff at 16K Hertz. And then again with the other song, we have the same thing here, around the 10K Hertz. You can see it's not going really above the -30 mark. And it's also staying somewhere between the -36 and -30. And then again, you have that high cut here, that's why the frequencies are like falling off or something above the 16 kHz. And also, if we take a look at our correlation meter, that's also important. You can see for this Hardwell track, it's sort of staying like in this area, like from the 0.5 to 1 area. Then the other song again, also -0.5 and 1. Alright, so what does this all mean now? Well, it does not mean that your track or your mixing has to be exactly this way from the frequency balancing or like from the correlation meter. But these are sort of guidelines that we can take for our own stems now. And we can try to achieve that same balancing for our stems and also the same correlation meter. So you don't want to, for example, with the correlation meter, you don't want to have that going too much to the left side, obviously, because like, if you're actually going to the minus area here, your song is too wide. Or with the frequency spectrum, you don't want to have any frequencies really popping out, really. So yeah, let's get started with our stems and let's try to apply that same balancing and yeah, stereo width to our song right here. So as you can see, we have one stem for the drums here. So all of the drums are in here. So this is kind of a bass stem. So we have the kick, claps, rides, etc. in the stem. Because I didn't want to export like all of the hundreds of stems kind of, because I didn't want to like spend 30 minutes or something tweaking 10 rides and 10 claps. What I want to do is I want to focus on the big picture and I want to show you how to, for example, mix your drums with your sub bass, with your mid bass, chords, leads, etc. These are the main things, the most important things. So yeah, we have the drums here, we have the sub bass separated, the mid basses, chords, leads, the ambient sounds. Also there's like a bass channel right here. Then all of the FX sounds. So we're gonna take these 7 stems and we're gonna mix and master these. And how I always start with mixing and mastering my songs is I always kind of start with the mastering first. So it sounds a bit weird at first or something. But what I always do is I always put my limiter first and then I mix everything into that limiter, because this allows me to set the final volumes from the beginning of my mixing. So I always start with my kick, for example, and then I push the volume as much as I can. And then I know, okay, this will be the final volume for my kick drum. And then I will go over to my sub bass, mix in the sub bass, and then I will work my way up the frequency spectrum to the higher sounds, like the higher frequency sounds. And if you were to, do it the other way around, like what's probably more the more common way, what I feel like happens is you're trying to keep the headroom on your master, and then at the end, like after the mixing, you try to push your song. And sometimes you might think, I can't really push it loud. You might need to go back to the mixing stage, turn down the kick in order to push the master a bit more into the limiter. But long story short, I prefer mixing everything into the limiter. So we have basically the ceiling set from the beginning and we know how loud we can push things. So what I usually use is the sausage fattener. That's no joke, because I really like how loud you can push your song with it. But also the fruity limiter also totally does the job. So I will use this one for this video because I guess all of us FL Studio have this one, obviously. And what I'm gonna do in here is I'm gonna turn down the attack, release and sustain. And this way we basically have a brick wall limiter, and this allows us to really make our song loud without having any pumping effect that we don't want. So yeah, first of all, as I said, I always start with the kick drum. So yeah, I'm gonna start with the drums now, obviously, because I don't have the kick solely. So what I'm gonna do now is I will grab the fader of the drums. I'm gonna make them as loud as possible, so once it starts to distort, it's too loud. It's actually pretty good here, can't even make it any louder. Let's see here maybe. So now it's distorting, and obviously this is too loud, so let's turn it a bit down again. Alright, so this is really nice. Also, if you actually take a look at this little window here at the top, you can always see your waveform. And if your kick looks something like this, it's hitting really nice, it's really loud, but it's not distorting. And then, as I said, I will go over to the sub bass and mix this one with my kick drum. So yeah, let's check out the sub bass. So obviously, first of all, let's put some sidechain on the sub bass, because without any sidechain, it's impossible to mix your kick and sub in an EDM song. So if you're wondering how to, mix kick and sub, or how to sidechain your sub bass, well, I like to use the gross beat, and then I have a preset in here, sub bass, which basically looks like this. So you can just, like draw in the points yourself if you want to like have this preset. And the reason why this works is, let me show you that, is the kick drum. We have it here. If you take a look at the, the waveform, you can see the kick drum is kind of stopping here. And then we have like this range for our sub bass, because we don't want to have our sub bass anywhere in here. So we just want to make sure that we're ducking the sub bass in this area right here. So we can actually give some more like room to our sub bass, maybe this way. I think this will work nice. Nice, and you can also see here, if you take a look here, that the sub bass is really being ducked whenever the kick is hitting here, which is like that orange, thing. And if you're wondering right now, oh yeah, it's orange and red, isn't it clipping actually? It doesn't matter if it's clipping here in this area. What matters is that it doesn't clip on the master, because if something is not clipping on the master, it's fine, obviously. So don't worry about any red lights on your mixer channels. All right, so obviously let's also adjust the volume of this one. So I like how loud this sub area is right now, below 100 Hertz. But what I don't like is that this upper octave that I have in the sub is sold out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take an equalizer and I'm gonna try to EQ the sub bass. Just to lower this higher octave right here, which you can see here also on the equalizer. So when it comes to EQing like this, it's just about like using your ears. I know you guys don't want to hear that, but you just have to use your ears and see if it works or not. Just play around with it, maybe like that. Well, I'm actually gonna put it here, because that's where the highest note is playing at. It's actually quite intense EQing, but whatever. Maybe let's give that lower layer a bit of a boost as well. I think it's maybe a bit too loud. Let's reduce it a tiny bit. Yeah, let's keep it like that for now. Then next up, I'm gonna take care of the mid basses. So also first of all, let's put some sidechain. I think I'm just gonna use kickstart for this one. I get this one. And then with the mid basses, it's important to obviously reduce, or not only reduce, but also like to cut out the lows, because you don't want to have the mid basses interfere with your sub bass. Maybe like that. Also here it's just about using your ears, and you have to like find out what frequencies you need to cut away and which not. So like in this case, I've set the low cut to 150 Hertz. I might change that later on in the video, but I think that's good for now. Alright, so Then next up, we're gonna take care of the chords. So also let's put some sidechain on the chords real quick. So let's also take out the lows here. I think I'm gonna reduce this area a bit, 300 Hz area. Again, we don't want to have too much around the 200-300 Hz. And the top area, let's reduce that a bit as well. Like that. Alright. Okay, I think that's fine for now. Then next up we have the leads. So again, EQing. So you can see I always grab like these cuts here. They're really nice, these presets. I also have to double check the time of the video always, because my camera stops recording after 30 minutes. Like that. For the leads, I usually set the low cut to around 200 Hz. I think I'm gonna use this area a tiny bit, 800 Hz area. Top area a bit as well, both 6K Hz. And then let's also put some OTT on the leads. It's like what everyone does, but it works really nice. Like maybe this one here is a little bit too loud, so I'm gonna reduce that one a bit. I don't think there's reverb on them, so let's add some reverb. So how I always set up my reverb is I first of all pick a P controller. And I set the bass to 20%, because this will keep our wet level below 100% right here. So let's right click this one. And I'm gonna choose the P controller peak right here. Set this one to inverted, like that. Now we have the wet signal reacting to the dry signal. And then I always take out some of the lows of the reverb as well, like 800 Hz. High cut, I usually set that to 8K, 10K Hz, something like that. And then I always increase the damping a tiny bit. And then I have the decay time usually set to 3.5 seconds for my leads. And now with the volume knob here in the P controller, we can basically select how much we want the wet signal to be ducked. Yeah, I think that's fine. Alright, let's actually also put some reverb on the chords. They sound quite dry. I'm not gonna put as much like decay time and stuff on the chords probably. Yeah, I think I actually had the decay time set to 1.5 seconds in the original mix or project file. Yeah, I think that's okay. So as you can recognize probably, when the chords stop playing, there's just that nice little fade out. Nice, already sounds pretty good. Then yeah, we have 2 more stems left. So we got the ambient sounds right here. So yeah, for the ambient sounds, there is already kickstart or say kickstart sidechain on those samples. So we just need to do some, you know, volume adjustment with these, I guess. Maybe a bit of EQing. I think I'm gonna reduce this one a bit. Yeah, then of course also low on the high cut. Like that. Then we got the FX sounds. So with the FX sounds, let me see. I think they're a tiny bit too loud maybe. So also I did some sidechaining on these already in the project file, which I kept on for these stems. Yeah, like that. Maybe let's increase the volume of the leads a tiny bit. Okay, there's actually something missing in this part right here. I'm not sure what that is. It's probably just a render mistake that I did or something while exporting the stems. It was quite a mess with the project file. But yeah, I think we actually already got a pretty strong result here. So of course, I did already some pre-mixing within these stems. You know, I already pre-mixed the drums. All of those are already mixed. Also, of course, the individual layers of the leads are already all mixed in here. But I just wanted to like keep it simple, and I wanted to focus on the big picture, mixing the leads with the chords and your bass line and your drums, and not spending the time on mixing 20 rides. I hope you understand what I mean. So yeah, let's maybe do some mastering, some more mastering. There's not actually really anything that we need to do anymore because we already have the limiter on. So we have the ceiling set. It's not going above 0 dBs, which is good. It doesn't sound distorted, but it's still loud because we mixed everything into the limiter. So technically we're already finished. So what I like to do on the masters, I like to do a high cut as well. And what I don't like to do is to do a low cut, because with the low cut you can actually mess up your low frequencies. And you not only can, you will probably by low cutting your master. Like that. Yeah, I think that's great. And then it's maybe, let's add another EQ. And I think I'm gonna boost just this 200-300 Hertz range a tiny bit, because I feel like the gap is a little bit too strong right here. So I'm just gonna boost this area a tiny bit. Yeah, maybe a little less. Just a tiny bit, like 1.2 decibels. Yeah, I think it gives some more warmth to the track without making it too muddy. So yeah, I think this is actually it for this tutorial. So let's have a listen again to the drop that we mixed right here. So let's go. So yeah, I hope you liked this one. Again, this was probably the most requested video. So yeah, I really hope that you guys could learn something from this that's valuable for you. And if it is, feel free to share this video with your producer friends so they can also benefit from this video. Leave a like if you liked it. Make sure to comment with your feedback. Subscribe if you haven't. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.